it was announced that there's going to be a Paw Patrol movie coming in 2021, and is from the director of The Nut Job 2. I know Paw Patrol is very successful, and I know it is like a big thing with young kids, and I understand it's a big franchise, and I get why it's having a movie. It's very popular. It had one of its specials was theatrically released recently in England, actually, just because I subscribe to Mark Kermode. But here's the thing: I don't let, like, so if you watch Paw Patrol, and I have objections to Paw Patrol, and I have seen it, by the way. And my main objection is I don't think it's right to kind of show basically police propaganda to children, kind of set them up to not question what police are doing. And I just feel like that's ultimately dangerous, especially in today's day and age, understanding that how generations work and they believe in separate, opposite things as their parents and so forth. Growing up in a time where many people are questioning police and kind of indoctrinating the youth with the idea that police are good, is not that all cops are bad, but I just find it to be, it's a problem. They're basically using children and kind of getting them to be like, hey, aren't police cool? Look at these puppy dogs who are police. And I know I've heard people say that's why they become superheroes lately. I think it's just because that's what the target audience would love, and so they do that, and it's like whatever. But I do think Paw Patrol is sort of like not good for kids because they don't really understand that it's propaganda, and in that sense it's sort of dangerous, and I don't really agree with that. And as someone who grew up in a city where I saw a lot of cops do a lot of evil and terrible things, and both right in front of me or hearing from friends, or the whole Baltimore uprising thing, I'm never going to agree with someone who's 100% like you should always listen to authority no matter what. And I think kids should listen to like their parents and people who are taking care of them, and there's certain reasons you should listen to authority. But in terms of like the police and things like that, I find that to be a little dangerous and worrying. I'm never really going to be for that, and I don't think I'd take my child to Paw Patrol, and I purposely don't let her watch it and avoid it because I do think it's sort of dangerous, and I don't think you should be having kids unquestioning authority in that manner, particularly in this day and age. And I just find it to be incredibly inappropriate. And I understand when I was a kid, I was basically sold, action figure commercials through my entire childhood, and I just think that wasn't okay. I love some of those action figures, I like some of those shows, but everyone was just sort of cool with it. And I am not that way. I'm, much more media savvy, and so if I'm going to let, my child watch a certain media and I find it to be inherently like sort of dangerous or evil, I don't want it in my house. So Paw Patrol, I extremely disagree with that show on a, ethical level. I just think it is ethically a problem, and I don't think it should be presented for children. And I think more people should look at that, because the idea that these kids will grow up and they will be voting and be leading, and it's one thing to be like, oh, He-Man's cool, and I was thinking about how like most kids shows now, especially for boys, are about respecting authority and being part of authority, and they're police and like I'm going to protect you and all these things. And I think that was true of my day and age, but it was more like, you should respect authority, and here's the reason you should, because it's like, look at the learning is half the battle. Like, I learned to tread water from that. This is not that. This is just like, aren't police cool and stuff like that. I noticed the girl shows are a little more about like independent thinking and running a business and stuff, but I'm just saying I don't agree with showing that stuff to kids. And I do watch what my kid watches, and most of them I'm fine with, I don't have an issue with, but I don't like Paw Patrol. I don't think it's good for kids. I think people should be questioning it a lot more, because presenting kids puppy dog police is inherently, something we should be questioning. And I don't think it's okay that this has been allowed to succeed in the way it has. And I know sometimes I do bring up these things and question things like the Trolls movie and so forth, but I really do actually mean it. I look at things in the moral messages it is saying, and if you look at the moral message of Paw Patrol, it is inherently evil. Anyway, let's move on.